Well, hey everybody, welcome back to live Q&A where it's just me by my lonesome. And I appreciate you joining me here. I see that there are 26 people thereabouts, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. And I'm here to answer your questions. So we are gearing up for Gen Con, and we're leaving on Tuesday, I think it is. Tuesday morning at the crack of early, because Tom buys the tickets and not me. I'm not a morning person, of course, you guys probably already know that. But anyway, I'm going to answer some questions here, so we're going to get right down to it. Let's see here. Okay, Ken Parker asks, is it possible to get the Blood Rage promo figure Healy for on the Dice Tower cruise? And I think, I'm not absolutely positive, but I think that that is an impossibility because the cruise doesn't want us selling anything on the boat. Now, there's semantics, I guess you could say, with that. Of what if I donate ahead of time and I just donate and then you just give it to me? I don't know if we're going to have any left. We're running low on the Healy figures at this point, so I don't know how that's going to work out. It would be a better question for Thomas than myself. I know that we are running low on them though, so sorry about that. Let's see. Propeller Heads music for the intro. Didn't know who they were. That's just one of the things that's in Final Cut Pro. That's where I created the intros. So there you go. Hello, everybody. Hi. Everybody's saying hi, howdy. Howdy. That's a good Texan word, howdy. Let's see. So could you compare Sword and Sorcery and Gloomhaven? Well, again, I've only played Gloomhaven the once. So bearing that in mind, I've played Sword and Sorcery more than that. I think 3 or 4 times I've played Sword and Sorcery. I think on the outskirts, Sword and Sorcery is a more easily palatable game, I guess you could say. Gloomhaven is this sprawling epic, comes with 90 some odd scenarios in it or something like that. So it's huge, and it's like sitting down to a 7-course meal or something to that effect that you're going to have over the next few months. Whereas Sword and Sorcery feels more like, you know, a 3-course meal that you can eat and not be stuffed after that. But you want to come back to that restaurant again. You know what I'm saying? So there is that. I haven't had lunch yet, so the food analogies might flow freely. But there you have it. I think you're really, at the end of the day, talking about 2 different beasts in the same genre. Yeah, they're both dungeon crawlers, but they're really different, and I think they're different enough to not be compared to one another, except for the fact that they're in the same genre. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Myself, again, I've only played Gloomhaven the once, but I like Sword and Sorcery a lot better. That's my kind of dungeon crawl, I guess you could say, more than Gloomhaven is. But again, I've only played it the once, and it wasn't a very good experience because I didn't really understand how the whole system worked together. On the flip side, Tom has played Gloomhaven out the nose, but he hasn't played Sword and Sorcery yet. So I would say ask Tom, but he hasn't played Sword and Sorcery. So I think there's, I really think it's doing a disservice to compare the two, if that makes any sense. Let's see, yes. All by myself. Yes, that is correct. Let's see, any thoughts on the Fallout game from FFG? I think that it's going to do well, and that's my only thoughts for it. I'm not a fan. I've never played the Fallout games on the video consoles or computers or whatever. So I'm not... This isn't one of those things that's coming out from FFG where I'm like, oh, because I've never really experienced the IP. But at the same time, I think that I know how popular it is. There's another Fallout game that's coming out from a different company that's more of a miniatures game. And I haven't read too much about the FFG version yet. So, and I haven't read too much about the other one either because, again, I'm not that big of a fan of the IP, but I know that it is popular. So I think it's going to do well. I don't know very much about game mechanisms or anything like that either. So there you have it. What are you most looking forward to doing at Gen Con? Honestly, it's meeting people. Spending time at the booth, shaking hands, talking to people. And that's one of the things I like the most. I like making those connections, so to speak, even if they are only kind of, I don't want to say superficial because that's kind of a negative term, but you know, we meet so many different people that I'm hard pressed to remember my kids' names on any given day. So having those, but making those connections, talking to people, meeting them face to face, those are one of the things that I really enjoy the most about that. Beyond that, I'm scheduled to play some games with supporters, with some supporters, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. Then I'm also going to be meeting with Monolith at one of their press events, talking about their Batman game, so I'm looking forward to that. I did get to demo it at UKGE, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of it, maybe a higher production copy or something to that effect. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Other than that, it's really simply my most favorite thing to do at Gen Con is work in the booth. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm not a big fan of huge crowds. So walking around the exhibitor hall is sometimes more stressful than it is calming and interesting, because I know that probably some of the things that I'm going to be interested in, we're going to be able to take a look at some point in the future. So I kind of just put my patience headset on at that point, and I'd rather kind of be at the booth, but there's other things that we have to do too. I'm looking forward to the live show as well, but the most thing is working at the booth, meeting people. Favorite Euro at the moment? Oh, favorite Euro at the moment. I would have... We just played Bunny Kingdom today. That is definitely a Euro game. And that was really fun. We really enjoyed it, which is strange because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it because of the theme. I'm not really a big fan of bunnies in my games, but it's a cool game, cool mechanisms. Outlive was really fun, and that's a Euro game with a Amerithrashy type theme on it, so that was cool. But all in all, you know, I don't know. Sorry. I'm trying to think of one, and it's just not coming to mind right now. Which game is Eurogamey that I enjoy the most? But yeah, probably. I mean, one of those two. Outlive is probably the most recent one that I've really enjoyed. So that's that. Let's see here. Can you order by preference sci-fi, fantasy, steampunk, cyberpunk, horror, something else? Well, something else will come last because don't know what that is. As far as the other ones, I would probably say horror is probably tied with something else because I'm not a big horror fan. There are some things, I mean, like I like Warhammer Fantasy, and you could make the argument that that's a horrific universe to live in with all of the Xenos and Plague Marines and Chaos Marines and all this other kind of stuff. You could do that. You could make the argument for that. But I would say it's more sci-fi horror rather than horror sci-fi. So I would probably put sci-fi first, then fantasy, then cyberpunk, then steampunk, then horror / something else. So that hopefully that answers your question well. Sound is good? Good. That is awesome. Awesome. Doing a live play of Wasteland Express tomorrow? Yes. Looking forward to it as well. We're going to use one of the variants where you can have actually PvP combat instead of just combat with the with the trucks, with the Raider trucks and the Raider enclaves. You can also combat your other people. We're playing with Vernon Piper, his Nina, and then Derek and I will also be joining. So that's going to be a good time. Both Vernon and Nina are very good players, and Derek and I we enjoy board games too. So we're going to have a good time. I think it'll be fun. I don't know how the PvP variant is going to go, and I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that aspect of it. I really enjoy, because fighting the Raider enclaves and fighting the Raider trucks, that's hard enough. As far as combat, I think there was enough combat in it. Throwing in, fighting each other as well, I don't know how that's going to work, but that's what Vernon really wanted to do. When we were explaining Wasteland Express at the last Saturday Cool Stuff meetup, I said that there's no PvP combat, and I could literally watch him deflate at that point. He really enjoys combat and contention and stuff like that. So he's looking forward to that. We'll see how it goes. Favorite singer and guitarist? Oh, wow. Right now, I think my favorite singer, vocalist, would probably be either Matt Smith from Theocracy or Michael Sweet from Striper. Michael Sweet's voice just seems to have improved over the years, and Matt Smith's voice has just been awesome ever since Theocracy began. So those are probably my two favorite vocalists right now. Those are the guys that I listen to when I'm working out in the mornings. As far as guitarist is concerned, probably my my favorite guitarist of all time is probably very close to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I liked his style a lot. His lifestyle was not very good, but his ability to play the guitar was phenomenal. Steve Vai is also one of my favorites. When I was in high school, I was in a band, a heavy metal band, and I patterned my style after James Hetfield. So I really enjoy how he played rhythm, and that's what I was. I was a rhythm guitarist too. So, but I would say my favorite ones are probably Stevie Ray Vaughan and Steve Vai. Those are probably my two favorites. Let's see. Daniel Heinsbon says, my brother-in-law is the rhythm guitarist for Theocracy. That's cool. Would you like an autographed shirt? Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I've met Jared Oldham at CMON this year. We got to spend some time and talk to him. That was a really cool time, because that was after we had Matt on for Dice Steeple, an interview with Matt on the Dice Steeple. Dan and I did that, and so we were able to meet. It was really funny because we were talking to Matt, and we were talking about, usually we talk about games a little bit at the front, and then we dive into the meat of the episode. And he's like, yeah, I don't really play games that often, but Jared, yeah, he plays games all the time. He works for this company called CMON or something like that. And we were like, what? You know, Dan and I both had that moment like, what? And so, yeah, Jared Oldham, the bassist for Theocracy, actually works as a videographer for CMON. So all of the video type stuff that you see, he has a hand in doing that. So that was a really cool thing for me. I had my little fanboy moment at CMON. So it was really fun. So to answer your question, yeah, sure, that'd be great. I'd really enjoy it. I'd love to be able to rep them by wearing a T-shirt. So whether it's autographed or not, I really don't care. But the T-shirt would be great. Have you heard if Dragonfire will be released at Gen Con? I know that they were really hyping it at Origins, so I would imagine that they are, but I don't know for sure. Tom is the one that has the skinny on a lot of those different things, and he doesn't always tell us everything because, frankly, he gets a lot of information that, and remembering to pass it on to the rest of us is really difficult. So I don't know for sure, but they were hyping it so much at Origins that I would imagine it's going to be there in some way, shape, or form. Whether they're going to be selling it, I don't know. Check the BGG list, and you can see whether or not it says demo or for sale. So check that out. Expansions I'm looking forward to at Gen Con. You know, I haven't been really keeping my ear to the ground as far as expansions are concerned, but the Rebellion expansion I've already done a review for, and if you can get your hands on one of those, and you already have, of course, if you already have the base game, that should be an auto buy for any person who has and enjoys Rebellion, Star Wars Rebellion. So Rise of the Empire would be one that I would really go out of my way to get. Jamaica is also, Z and I were just talking about this a couple days ago. When they updated the BGG list for Gen Con, because we had actually forgotten that they were coming out with that expansion for Jamaica. And that probably, we weren't including lists on our games to look forward to a Gen Con list, but that's definitely on my radar as well, because Jamaica is one of my favorite games. So that's a really cool expansion coming out too. But as far as, you know, the really high points, I'm not really keeping my ear to the ground for expansions that much. Excuse me. So, Guten Abend. All right, cool. And it shifted on me, so let me go ahead and get back to where we were. Let's see here. Wow, that shifted way down. There we go. What game should I buy next? I don't know. Whatever game you want to buy next. I can't tell you what to buy without knowing you and without knowing your collection, without knowing what you like and that type of stuff. So really you have to make a decision on your own. You can watch the reviews that we make and make your own decision, but really what you buy is your choice, not mine. So there you go. Artie, yes. Artie, I did see your email. Thank you for sending that, and I wish you the best as far as Warpgate is concerned. So it's a really fun game. And so Warpgate by Wolf Designer. You guys need to check that out. I just saw him post this here, but that is a very fun game. Was able to play it a couple times at UKGE. Great. They're the company that did Guardians of Atlantis. I know Gary Pope, his best of the month was Guards of Atlantis. So for July. So it's not just me, people. Other people like these games. And Warpgate was a really fun time too as well. So check that out. But yes, Artie, did get your email. I'll respond later on. Josh Estes says, I just got Blood Rage. Which color should I use? Whatever your favorite color is. But I know in the box it comes with like blue, red, brown, and yellow. Serpent Clan, Bear Clan, Wolf Clan, and Raven Clan. I think that's what comes in the box. So whichever is your favorite. You can pick up the Ram Clan, which is green. That's my favorite color to use. You can also try to get a hold of, I don't know how availability is, but you can also try to get a hold of the Wild Boar Clan, which is purple. So there's that as well. Those are the other two factions that don't come in the base box. So whichever one you want. Is it a boat or a ship? You know, I don't know if it's a boat or a ship. I call it a seagoing vessel. I have no idea. Any tips for getting into war games? You bought a copy of GMT's Newtown, and the rulebook is making my brain mush. That's par for the course. GMT, they make some really, they make some of the best war games that are out there. There are other companies that are out there that make really good war games as well. But if you're not wired for those kinds of like technical manual readout kind of rule books, they can be really hard to get through. That's one of the main reasons why I don't play those kinds of traditional war games very often, because getting through the rulebook for me is really, really, really difficult. Yeah, I would start, I guess, kind of tiptoeing into the water. And one of your first tiptoes probably could be Memoir 44. That's your first tiptoe into that. And then if you like what you're seeing there, you can tiptoe a little bit further and try games like Tide of Iron. And again, I'm not saying go out and purchase all of these and try them. If you just have opportunity to try them out, do that. And then maybe tiptoe a little bit further and try Combat Commander. And then a little bit further, ASL, SK, the starter kits for Advanced Squad Leader. And then, you know, it's kind of an acquired taste, at least that's how I look at it, because you have to kind of really work at being able to understand that. You'll find that some of those games, they're very similar in how they play. And so after you get some of those games under your belt, you'll find similarities, and they won't be as difficult to slog through as you go through. So I would just, you know, baby step it. Start light with those games that I mentioned, and then keep going further if you want. What game would you recommend for trying to get into dungeon crawl games, sword and sorcery, or Zombicide Black Plague, or something else? Well, that really depends on what kind of dungeon crawl you want. Do you want a generic tried and true fantasy setting? Then I would go with sword and sorcery. But if you want kind of a spin on the fantasy setting, because it's more of a medieval setting than it is actual tried and true fantasy, then I would go with Zombicide Black Plague. But I mean, they just came out with Green Horde as well, which is kickstarted. So that's going to be a really good addition for that universe, Zombicide Black Plague. But it's really kind of up to you. What are you wanting from the game? If you want a more tried and true RPG kind of feel, then I would go with sword and sorcery. But if you want a more board game dungeon crawl, more board gamey and less RPG, then I'd go with Black Plague. Let's see. Have you heard about the Scythe Legendary Box with an MSRP of $25 to house existing and future? I have heard of it, yes. It is simply a big empty box with 3 smaller empty boxes. I think it's great that they are trying to give you a box that will hold everything. The new airships that are coming out are huge in comparison to the mechs. So they had to do something because those airships were not fitting in the base box. I don't care what kind of box organizer you decided to use, or if you just tried to stuff everything in there, they just aren't going to fit. So I'm cool with the fact that they are offering an alternative so that you don't have to go out and buy, you know, a tackle box or, you know, something like that to house all of your Scythe stuff. I think it's cool that they're doing that. I'm not going to get into whether I think it's worth your money, because again, that's a decision you have to make on whether or not you're going to spend 25 bucks for basically 4 empty boxes. That's up to you. So I think it's great that they are trying to give you a product that will allow you to store all of your Scythe components in one location rather than having all of these different things. Will you be getting the Fallout game from Fantasy Flight? I don't know. I don't have any control over what they send us. I would hope that they would, because, you know, we want to be in the loop, so to speak, but I don't know. It just depends on what they do. Have you played Deadline by WizKids? No, I have not yet. We just got it in yesterday. So I know Z grabbed it and is looking at the rules and stuff like that today. So we'll get that to the table. I doubt before Gen Con, probably after or during. Let's see. Well, what do you think about the new Kickstarter expansions for Flashpoint? I haven't read anything about them. Flashpoint isn't a game that ranks very highly on my want to play games. It is a very thematic game, and that's why it made my a list that could or could not be coming out in the next week or so. Spoilers. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself there, but I don't really. I'm not really ear to the ground on that one. I don't. I'm sure it'll be great, but I don't know anything about them. Mr. Persall says, "Hey Sam, have you any more details about the raised Valhalla from your Blood Rage game yesterday? Alternatively, any chance of some close-up photos?" Yeah, I'll post those on Twitter, and maybe if Derek is watching, he can. I have it in the other room, so maybe if Derek's watching when he hears this, he'll bring it in for me and I'll show it to you here. But basically, it isn't made for. It's not being made by a company. It's just a friend of mine, a buddy that lives up in Canada. I saw his copy that he made for himself, and I mentioned how cool it was, and he was like, "Well, hey, I'll make one and send it to you because they're real cheap to make or whatever." And so he did, and I promised him that I would play it as soon as I could. So when we did the live play for Blood Rage, I knew I was going to incorporate it. So yeah, it's just a little pop-up thing, and maybe you'll see it later on. And if you don't, you'll know that nobody's watching this here at the Dice Tower headquarters. Let's see. I'm setting to buy a new Legacy game. Can't decide between Pandemic Legacy and Gloomhaven.
I was half listening. What did you do?
The little Valhalla pop-up thing.
Yeah.
Cool. He's going to bring it. Let me answer this question while we're ahead. Setting to buy a next Legacy game. Can't decide between Pandemic Legacy and Gloomhaven. Also, there is Seventh Continent. There's also Charterstone that's coming out. Would you consider it a Legacy game? You know, I haven't read too much about Seventh Continent. Thank you so much. So I don't know, but Pandemic Legacy so far for me, and I haven't played Charterstone. I haven't read much about Seventh Continent, but so far, Legacy games have fallen, with the caveats being Pandemic Legacy and Risk Legacy. Any other Legacy games that I've tried so far have not really done it for me. So take that with a grain of salt. What is your favorite game, except for possibly Star Realms, since I know you enjoy that one quite a bit? Hanami Koji is a really cool two-player small game. I've really enjoyed that one. Another small game, it's a trick-taking game called Tournament at Camelot. That was actually #1 on my recommendations to check out at Gen Con. So there's that. That's a small-ish game. It's just a trick-taking card game. So that's really high on my list right now too. Hero Realms is, I know it's basically Star Realms, but that's really high on my list. The Dwarf King is another trick-taking game that I really enjoy a lot. So yeah, those are probably 4 good choices for you to check out. All right, let's get to this before I get back. Now, it's just a little pop-up thingy here, if you can see it. And it's that's basically what it is. So it's just a little spot for everybody to kind of sit on. That's not just this little postcard on the board, on the table. So it just kind of gives a little bit of a thematic resonance to a very thematic game anyway. Up at the top it says, "Lo, they do call me. They bid me take my place among them in the halls of Valhalla, where the brave may live forever." All right, so that's what this is. And it's, I mean, it's something simple, but it really pops on the board. It makes it look pretty cool. So if you want to see it in action, you can go watch our live play from last night. But that is it. Thank you again, Leslie Chung. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Have I discovered an ideal storage solution for Imperial Assault yet? No, I haven't, because there is so much. You almost have to, like I've done with XWing, you almost have to go out and buy a tackle box of some sort, you know, at Walmart or Target or one of your hardware stores or whatever, that will fit everything in there. There is so many things. Now, I still have in my base set, I still have Rob Searing's insert, but I mean, there's just so much out there. I wouldn't expect anybody to make an organizer that will fit in the base box. You have to have multiple boxes, more often than not, I would imagine. So, no, I haven't, not yet. I did have a couple talk to me about a storage solution that was kind of generic, not just for Imperial Assault at CMON, but CMON Expo, but that was something that was possibly going to go to Kickstarter. They were just kind of in the beginning stages. It looked cool, but I don't know if it's gone anywhere. Spending my lunch break with Sam. Very cool. enjoy your lunch. Any plans to come back to Toronto? You know, the gathering we're always up for going to the gathering. We enjoy going there. We enjoy all of the events that are there. We enjoy the people, playing games with everybody that's up there. So if that is still a possibility, then I'm pretty sure we'll take advantage of it. And going to Snakes and Lattes was an amazing time. We're toying with the possibility of just staying at Snakes and Lattes and not going to the ball game this year, or next year rather. But I mean, again, I don't know. I was trying to get Daryl to organize a Maple Leafs game instead of a Blue Jays game, because hockey is just better than soccer. Period. Baseball. Period. So that's that. But who knows? That's so far in the future. We're really just kind of focusing on Gen Con, and then once Gen Con's done, we start focusing on Essen, and then once Essen's done, we start focusing on PAX Unplugged and so forth and so on. So it's we hope to. I mean, it's a great place to visit, and so we're looking forward to that if it's possible. Any chance you guys consider doing another live stream of Ti3? We'll see. I don't know. It's just one of those things that game in particular, and games like it, really take a lot of planning and forethought on the top end, on the front end of it. So. Plus, we just have to have. There's other things that we've promised that we were going to do for our fundraiser this year that we still have to do. Like, we still have to do a D&D session, and we're still in the planning stages of that as well. I mean, we've already got the DM nailed down, and we just have to figure out dates and all that kind of stuff. So there's other things that will probably become first before another Ti3 session live. What's your opinion on the new Follow game announced? Already answered that question, so you'll have to go back a little bit. I actually talked about both it and the miniature game a little bit. So there's that. If you could play one game for the rest of your life, that would be... I am still not tired of Blood Rage. Whether that would be the one that I continue playing for the rest of my life, I don't know. But I have not tired playing it. I'm usually willing to play almost all the time, unless I simply can't because I have to get other games played. But that would probably be my answer. Is there a common color wash to use on all minis to give them a nice shade? The one that I usually like to use is Nuln Oil. That is a really nice shadowy shade that more often than not will do a good job of giving a good shade on your minis. Me and Rob call it liquid talent, mostly Rob. He's the one that coined the phrase first, at least first time I heard it. So we call that liquid talent because it really makes your miniatures pop. Well, it does dinge them up a little bit, and what I mean by that, it darkens them up considerably. Usually you want to try to use, especially if you have wide surfaces with different colors on them, you want to use shades that are made for that color rather than just one shade on all of the different colors. But it works. It works. So that would be the most common one, is Nuln Oil from Citadel. Both of my sons really enjoyed Blood Rage. They were talking about it on the entire ride home. Well, not the entire ride home, but they were talking about it on the ride home. They were talking about how they wanted to play it with their friends and youth group, and so they really enjoyed the game very much. And Michael was talking about things he would do differently so that he would score more points. And we were joking, if you watch the thing, we were joking because David was talking trash, and he was saying that he was going to beat me at my favorite game the first time he played it. And because he does do well, he does better at games the first time he plays it because he tries, pretty pointed strategies, and he does well at them. And he was doing well last night. But anyway, I told him when he said, "I'm going to beat you," I was like, no, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the two of you didn't get past 25 points. Because I've seen that happen, especially in 5-player games where there's just so many, the board's really crowded. And that's what the whole thing, if you watch the live play out, we were making a big deal about Michael rounding the 25-point corner. And now he's past 30 and all this other kind of stuff. So it was a really fun time. They both enjoyed themselves a lot. And there's my son, Mike Healy. Hey, how is life? So, he's doing well, thank you. Get back to work. Let's see, which of these games would you recommend? Terra Mystica, Caverna, The Cave Farmers, or Fields of Arle? Definitely out of those three, I really dislike Terra Mystica. It just didn't make sense to me. Just a lot of convolution just for the sake of having convolution, in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't like that one at all. Fields of Arle is kind of a different... I don't see it fitting into those. It's a little bit of a lighter game if I'm remembering it correctly. But Caverna out of those three is my favorite. So yeah. What would you add to Twilight Imperium 3rd edition if you had the chance? Nothing. I would actually, I would probably lessen the political phase. That's my least favorite part of the game. I wouldn't add anything to it. It's already a large, sprawling game that I don't think needs anything else. Now, with that being said, they'll probably come out with another expansion that I will be like, how did we play this game without this? I doubt it. I don't think they're coming out with another expansion for it. But I think it would be cool to, and again, I've said this a million times in the past, is just retheme it with Star Wars. I think there's plenty of alien races in Star Wars that would give it a galaxies, a Star Wars galaxies feel, where you're running around and all of these different aliens have these different kinds of capital ships and fighters, and I think there's a lot of potential there. But again, I don't know. To answer your question, I wouldn't add anything to it. Let's see. What TV shows are you watching at the moment? Right now, I'm actually watching Luther. It's kind of gritty, but I just saw The Dark Tower, and Idris Elba is one of my favorite actors. So I saw that, I've been watching it on Netflix, and I really like him as an actor. There's a lot of gritty moments, and some of the stuff, just personally, I fast forward through, but it's a good sleuth kind of show, where he has to figure out the crime and find the person who committed the crime and that type of thing. But it's set in London. It's a British TV show, but that's the one I've been watching recently. I've also been watching a lot of Hawaii Five-0, catching up on those kinds of on Netflix. It's one of my favorite shows. And that's about it. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV. And if I do watch it, it's usually later on at night, and I'm about to fall asleep anyway. So those are the things that I've been watching. Do I play Magic the Gathering? No, I do not. I've played it before, but I am not nowhere near to being a consistent Magic the Gathering player. I just don't have any recommendations for you as far as being a beginner and all that kind of stuff. Any chance we see a live play of Shogun? Maybe, but not anytime soon, because we've got to get through Gen Con and Essen and all that kind of stuff. So I'll keep that on the back burner, though. Thank you, Marco. Have you given up on Twilight Imperium 4th edition? Well, we just kind of talked about that a little bit. I think they're moving in a different direction as a company, so I don't think that they're going to have a 4th edition. Just because they're not even, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that I've heard or seen that would in any way allude to that. But you never know. Let's see here. No, I do not like Gloomhaven as much as Tom, but I think part of the reason for that is because I haven't played it as much as Tom has. Now, I don't think I am going to like it as much as Tom likes it, but I've only played it once, so I can't really say for sure whether I will definitely enjoy it or not. Let's see, name rule classic you still have yet to try out. Old classic that I still have yet to try. You know, I don't think that that I have a desire to try. I'll put that caveat. I don't see any out there that I must try, or I would love to play it if I had the chance to. Yeah, I just don't know. Let's see here. If you could buy one game at Gen Con, what would it be? Probably the one that I would probably buy, and I will more than likely buy, is Century Gollum Edition, because that I really enjoy playing Century Spice Road, but the theming of it is really, really generic. And I like the way that I like the bits and the components of the Gollum Edition a lot better from the pictures that I've seen. So that's probably the one that I will probably purchase, if at all possible. Some of the other ones that were on our Gen Con list we already own, or we already have here at the Dice Tower, and I already have access to them, so there's no reason for me to buy them. So yeah, that's a little bit of a clarification on why. It's very hard to get modern games in Argentina, but we start groups of hobbyists and startups, and we hope we can share with everyone in a few years getting and making good modern games. Cool, keep it up. Are you still into XWing? You know, I haven't played it in a long time because it does have a little bit of setup. There's a lot of forethought that goes into it, building your faction or your army, your side of the game and everything like that. And then the other person has to do the same thing, or I have to build both and just say, here, play with this. So there's a lot more to it than that. I still have all of the stuff that I had before, and Tom got rid of his and gave me all of his stuff. So I have more than enough, but I don't play it as often as I probably should with all the stuff that's there. What are the best board game cons to attend in the UK? Well, if you don't go to UKGE, that's the one that I know about. There's another one called Aircon his name escapes me right now. I'm sorry. I should really. I want to say his name is Mark, and I can't remember his last name. But Aircon is another one that is a startup, but it's gaining a lot of traction. It's growing. But UKGE is like, if you live in the UK, there's no reason for you not to go there unless you simply can't, because you can't get off work, or you can't afford it, or what have you. But UKGE is by far that I know of, at least, and that I have been to. So there you have it. Ivan, Century Gollum Edition is going to be released at Gen Con. They're going to give like the first 50 copies away on the first day to the first 50 people that show up and say, hey, I'm here for the Golems, or something to that effect. And then they're also going to have more to sell. I think the MSRP is $40, and then they're also going to have a play mat that's available as well if you want to purchase it for $30. What out of fashion game mechanic needs to make a comeback? I don't know. Usually if it's out of fashion, it's died for a reason, I would imagine. So I don't know. I'm not going to answer that question because I just don't have an answer for it. What are your thoughts about the Star Realms Kickstarter? I think it's cool that they are, at least it looks like they are incorporating some of the Hero Realms type stuff into Star Realms. Because really it comes down to which theming are you going to be more interested in. A lot of people like sci-fi better than fantasy. Some people like fantasy better than sci-fi. So I think it's cool that they are making changes to both sides of the coin, so to speak. The Commander decks, I don't know that much about them, but if they're anything like the Hero decks of Hero Realms, I think that'll be a really cool addition to Star Realms. So there you have it. Manuel Bergeron says, I like your reviews and top 10 choices, often a little outside of the box with a nice sensible touch. Thank you. He also loves Battlestar Galactica. What expansions do you use on your typical games? Well, I don't play Battlestar Galactica, one of those, very often. It is very much a convention game for me because there aren't enough people in my area that really enjoy it enough to play it on a regular, consistent basis. On top of that, I don't usually play games on a regular, consistent basis because we're always having to play new games and try out new things so that we can do reviews on them, or at least be knowledgeable about them and so forth. So really, I'm not a good person to ask about that. It's a game that I enjoy, but I have not studied it academically or anything like that to tell you far and away which ones are the best. One that I usually always like to play with is Pegasus, because I just like having the Battlestar Pegasus on the board along with Galactica. So, but you know, it's up to you. Again, you have to make that decision by yourself. Am I picking up any tabletop miniature games at Gen Con? Probably not. Usually I don't have the funds to fork out a whole lot of cash, so I don't have a lot of expendable income. So those are usually more expensive. So I'm probably not going to be picking up any of them because they are lifestyle games to an extent, and so I don't have a lot of time for those kinds of games. I mean, I will play them, I will try them, and I'll give my thoughts on them, but to continue consistently playing them is very difficult. I have not played Vast Crystal Caverns, but I've heard a lot of people saying a lot of really good things about them, and I'm very interested in trying it. I like the concept of the game, but no, I have not. Let's see. I've not played Pit Crew, Stronghold's Pit Crew. I've not played that yet, so I don't know. Let's see. Mr. Santos says, I would like to start collecting Memoir 44. Does Days of Wonder reprint their expansions every once in a while, or will some things be unavailable forever? Again, I have no real inroads to Days of Wonder and their business practices, but there are only a few more fringe expansions that you are hard to get a hold of right now. So if you want to get into Memoir right now, it's probably okay to get into. I mean, there's certain things like the campaign books that are hard to get a hold of. The Air Pack, I know that they are trying to rework some of the stuff in that. I haven't heard anything about a release date for it though. So the Air Pack might be a little bit hard to get a hold of. The campaign bag is almost impossible, I think. I haven't heard anybody trying to get a hold of it. Yeah, there's that. Let's see. As far as being unavailable forever, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any kind of inroad or insider that at Days of Wonder that tells me what they're doing or anything like that, so I don't know. Let's see. After spending so much time in Korea, do you or Tom speak much Korean? We do speak some. Like I can read Korean because I've memorized all of the sounds. Well, most, not all. Some of the blends that Hangul has they're very difficult for me to enunciate. So and pronounce. So I can read usually, but I don't always know what I'm reading. Which is dangerous because I could be reading something really nasty or inappropriate, and I wouldn't have a clue. So I can do that. I would usually be able to order dinner in Korean. That's one of the things I tried to focus on because I wanted to be able to, going out with my family while we were there, and that's one of the first things that I focused on. When I started learning the language, being able to order food at a restaurant without having to worry about does the person speak English or not. So I'm not fluent, and Tom is definitely not fluent either. So yeah. Let's see. That's true. Wasteland Express is a Euro. Thank you, Kabuki. Is Stone Age your favorite Euro? It's up there. Are you a native of Florida? No, I'm a native Texan. So yeah, not that there's anything wrong with being a native Floridian, but no, I'm Texan. Let's see. Any Kickstarter news? No, but another crowdfunding episode just got put up by Tom today, so you can check that out. Matter of fact, it went up 53 minutes ago, I believe. Or it's about to go up in 7 minutes, one of the two. Let's see. I'm gonna skip some here to try to get back down. I know I'm really behind, but I do want to try to do something. Common house rule and specific board game. Well, we just used one in Blood Rage last night, where you're only supposed to use 2 of the gods for each game, and then they reset at the beginning of each age, at the 2nd and 3rd age. But what we do is, instead of using the same 2 gods in the 2nd age, we pick 2 new ones, and then in the 3rd age we pick 2 new ones. So we actually use 6 gods throughout the course of one game instead of only 2. So that's a common house rule that we always use when we play Blood Rage. Let's see here. I am trying to look. I do not read fast like Thomas. Will you play the next Time stories, even if the theme might be more adult-centered, 80s Hollywood? You know, we were just talking about that a couple days ago as well. What do they actually mean by adult-themed? Because there have been a lot of elements in the other expansions that were, you know, I mean, a person hanging themselves, scantily clad people in asylum. So there's been a lot of that, what I would consider at least adult-themed elements in the games already. So what they mean, why did they have to mark this one? Is it going to be like way further down the road, or what have you? So to be honest, we'll probably play it, yes, just because we usually do it so that we can do the Miami Dice of it together. So we'll probably play it, yeah, but I guess you'll have to wait until the review to get my final thoughts on that one. Have there been any recent games you simply pushed aside and refused to play based on theme? No. I usually don't refuse to play unless it's way over the top. But there have been games like, for example, I was talking about Bunny Kingdom earlier. I wrote that one off because I don't care about having bunnies in my games. That's probably the closest I came. We just played it today, though, and I really enjoyed it. So there's that as well. But no, usually not. But, I mean, for example, you know, Chaos in the Old World is the one that we got the most, I guess, hate on. It just doesn't, I still played the game, but I'll never play it again because it just doesn't hold that kind of attraction for me. The Others is another game that doesn't hold that any attraction to me at all. So I won't play that one again, but I have played it. So I rarely, I guess you could say, refuse to play anything, but I guess Cards Against Humanity is a game that I refuse to play just because I know it's not going to be something I'm going to enjoy. So there's that. Do I like God's Not Dead 1 or 2 better? I like both of them. I think God's Not Dead 1 is probably the better movie as far as how it was put together and told the story and the acting and all of that kind of stuff, but I like them both. Life verse, Mark 10:45. Sorry, Mark 10:45. As a religious person, has there ever been a game that has turned you away from theme alone before playing? Oh, yeah. Well, I just talked about that. Sorry. Those were right next to each other. I just went back up. Let's see. Would you rather play with a person who asks too many questions or doesn't know what he or she is doing? I'd rather you ask questions. Because if I'm teaching the game, I'm there to help you understand it. And so if you just play and you don't let on that you really don't have a clue, which I can't help you understand. So I'd rather the person ask questions, even if it's too many questions. Now, if you continue asking the same question after I've answered it like 3 or 4 times, that gets a little annoying. But again, if I'd rather have somebody ask me a question than not ask and just play and not enjoy because you don't understand what you're doing. I'd rather the person ask the questions. What do you think about 40K 8th edition? I've only played a demo at Origins. I have the copy that they sent me for review at home, and it's on the docket, and it is creeping up. I still have to get my Plague Marines built. I've already got the Space Marines done, but I need to get the Plague Marines built so that I can play it. Probably going to play it with my sons and get it done, but I do enjoy what they have done. I love how they have streamlined the game, but they've also added in all the extra stuff that everybody wants. You know, the lifetime, the life gamers that play 40K, they want all of that deep convolution and difficulty and all of this. And I'm glad that they still have that, but then they also have the streamlined version so that people can also play the game casually and enjoy it. And the new models that they've come out with are amazing. So we'll get to that more later on. But yeah, I do enjoy it. I think it's a very good step up. Let's see. How do you like the new dice guys portraying you and Z? I think they're cool. I think it's cool that you know, we have, I'm a, what is it, a dodecahedron, 12-sided die, and Z's a 20-sided die. I like those. I think it's a cool branding choice. I think it's a cool idea. So I like it a lot. Metallica are like the metal Beatles. This is probably true. Let's see. Is that wiping as in winning or wiping as in quit rate? I don't know what that means. Let's see. Underrated board game according to BGG ranking. I don't know. I don't memorize the BGG rankings. So what is my connection to Texas? I was born there and raised there. My dad was in the Air Force, so we did do a bit of moving around, but from birth to about, I want to say 6 years old, I lived in Texas. And then we moved to Virginia because my dad got stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. We moved there for, I think, 3 years. And then we moved back to Texas, and I lived in Texas until I was in fifth grade, and then we moved to Germany and was there from 6th to 6th, 7th, and we left the summer before 8th grade, and then we moved back to Mississippi, and then I was in for my high school years. I was in 4 different high schools. From one, I was in Biloxi. No, I'm sorry, Pascagoula. No. Good night. Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Ocean Springs High School, my 9th grade year. Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi High for 10th grade. Pascagoula High School for 11th grade, and then Murphy High School. I graduated from there. That's in Mobile, Alabama. So a lot of moving around, but my roots are definitely put down in Texas, San Antonio, to be specific. Did I have long hair when you played? Yes. And no, I don't have any pics. Well, there are some that I have on Facebook, I think. Yeah, it was so, but yeah, not a whole lot. I'm not a very photogenic person. Let's see. Brooks Dickinson's vocals, yeah, he's an amazing vocalist as well. Let's see here. It shifted down again. I apologize. Let me just try to find a place, and then we'll, let's see here. Most laugh out loud game that you've played? Probably either Time's Up, Title Recall has been a laugh out loud, especially in the third round where you're not really able to say anything. You just have to base on charades and sounds. That's been really laugh out loud. Mountains of Madness was a laugh out loud game that we've just played recently. We did that live play, so you can go check that out. That was really fun. And I usually don't like those kinds of games, so there's that. All right, just My favorite Korean dish, I saw that one. My favorite Korean dish is as a snack, probably tteokbokki, and as a dish, like a dinner or a meal, is probably oh, good night. Oh, you know, I don't know, man. It's all so good. Korean food is amazingly good. But the bowl rice, man, I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, I love this thing too. I can't remember it. I'm sorry, but it's rice in a bowl, and it's doso bibimbap. There you go. I was thinking of a hot bowl, so doso bibimbap is my favorite probably. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's just do. I got 5 minutes before I'm going to sign off here. Let's do the rapid fire questions, and I'll try to do the best I can in trying to keep up with them. Let's see. Let's see here. All right, so I'm waiting for those rapid fire, this or that, this or that. We usually do it at the end of our Q&As. So I'm waiting on those to start showing up. Monkey brains with rice? No. Bibimbap? Yes, that was the one. Waiting on those questions. Good old 30-second delay. Bulgogi is good, yes. Let's see. Dice or cards? Dice, because I really don't like card dice. So definitely dice. Dice are more fun for me. Let's see. Dice chucking or dice tower? Dice chucking, of course. Dunkin' or Starbucks? As far as coffee is concerned, absolutely Starbucks. Don't like Dunkin' Donuts coffee at all. McGregor or Mayweather? Wow, I don't want to pick a side because I really don't like boxing, but McGregor's Irish, so and I don't really like him at all. So, man, you guys are firing them. Korea or Germany? I liked them both. Pizza or lasagna? Pizza. Vanilla or chocolate? I like chocolate better than vanilla. Terraforming Mars or Scythe? Scythe. But I really like it. I do enjoy Terraforming Mars too. Gloomhaven or Swords and Sorcery? Sword and Sorcery at this point. First Martians or Robinson Crusoe? I'm going to go with First Martians because I like the theme a little bit better. Besieged or, oh no, where'd it go? Oh, Rum and Bones. Rum and Bones, hands down. Cubes or Pawns? Pawns. Bulls or Bears? I am not a big basketball fan, so I'm going to go with Bears. Stroop waffles or Oreos? Stroop waffles, hands down. Blood Rage or Scythe? Duh, Blood Rage. Sam or Z? I have to choose between myself or somebody else. Both. Bears or Cowboys? Pfft, Pete, yeah, right. Bears. Go Bears. 40K or Age of Sigmar? Wow. I'm going to go with 40K, again, because I like the sci-fi setting a little bit better. Let's see. Kickstarter games or traditional published games? Generally speaking, I would have to say probably traditionally published games. Memoir 44 or Heroes of Normandy? Well, I'll tell you what. Heroes of Blackreach is coming very soon. I don't know how soon. And I don't have any information on this, but Stefan from Yellow has been putting up on his Facebook page some very awesome pictures from Heroes of Blackreach, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I probably have more of a connection to Memoir 44, but man, Heroes of Normandy is a fun system. Let's see, Jamaica the game or Jamaica the island? Never been to the island, so I apologize for that. Raptor or Hanami Koji? I think I'm going to go with Hanami Koji because I like the hand management in that a little bit better. It's a little bit more excruciating. Rap or country music? How about neither of them? Worker placement or area control? Both together. Deluxified or Riot? Don't know what that means. Citrus or Through the Desert? Neither. Bumper cars or bumper boats? Bumper boats are more fun to me. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. We had Castle Golfing Games in San Antonio that I used to go to all the time. And, well, not all the time, but often. And I really enjoyed the bumper boats in that. Tom or Z, not answering that question. Old Testament or New Testament? They both have their merits. Champions of Midgard or Raiders of the North Sea? Champions of Midgard I probably enjoy a little bit more, but Raiders of the North Sea is also very good. Clank or Lords of Waterdeep? Clank. Police Precinct or Flashpoint Fire Rescue? I like them both. I like them equally. And I don't dislike either of them, but I like them equally. Fish or chicken? Usually chicken. Fairground or water park? So like a fair or going to a water park? Probably a fair. I would like going to a fair better. BSG or Dead of Winter? Probably depends on my mood. Yes, that is true. I know it's a Texan and not in the country. You are correct. Essen or Gen Con? Huh. I don't know. They're both huge cons. And like I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of huge crowds. So they're probably not on my top, at the top of my list. But if I had to choose between one of them, I would probably choose Essen because I would get to travel to Germany instead of just Indiana. And that's not a slight against anybody that lives in Indianapolis. It's a great city. But traveling to a foreign country or just to another state, that's just different echelon. Tannhauser or Dust Tactics? Those are two different bears. I think Dust Tactics is a little bit more of a miniatures game, and Tannhauser is a board game that has miniatures. So I both. Stay up late or get up early? Neither. Kane or Taze? Got to go with John. Jonathan Taze. He's more of a both sides of the puck type of player. Kaner is good. He can put the puck in the back of the net, but I like Taze's style a little bit more. He's a little bit more grittier than Kaner is. Let's see, and that looks like it's about it. I actually gave you one more minute than before. So that's that. Z or Pete? Pete. Come on, man. You know me, Pete. No, probably Z. Gotcha. Anyway, all right. Well, that is it for me, and we are going to head on out of here. I'm going to need Derek's help because I don't know how to work this contraption that's over there that's running the live stream. So hopefully he'll hear that pretty quick and then come and help me with closing out the video. But I appreciate you guys joining us. 248 watching now. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that a lot. You took time out of your day just to come chew the fat with me, so I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Drive by or take a seat? What? I don't understand what that means. Anyway, okay, well, we're going to get on out of here, and we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll see you on the flip side. What is an atunk eye? Doesn't make any sense. Did you mean the stink eye? This is the stink eye. I will no longer be quiet, Peter. I am not going to sit anywhere quietly if that is what it means. Ever. Although it possibly could be true. All right. See you guys later. Bye.